What's up, everybody? This is the Ginger and Honey podcast. We're back for episode 2, and I'm your girl, Nick Valentine.
And I'm your girl, the Lioness.
So, thank you for joining us today. And Miss Lioness is going to introduce our guest.
Today we have Coach Clint, who is an exercise physiologist, a swim coach, stretch therapist, and a cognitive coach, also a public speaker. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's a lot of titles there.
Yeah, there's a lot going
Too
on.
much is given, much is required.
Ooh.
Hey,
Hey.
coming with the expertise.
Yeah. So Clint is also my life partner.
Oh.
I like that. I like that.
So, this is Zaddy.
Oh, big Zaddy, not the little
Not
one.
the little one.
Hey.
Love it.
But I know when we first started talking, I'm exercise physiologist. What is that?
Right.
So I'm gonna give the working definition of an exercise physiologist is a health professional who designs exercise and fitness programs to improve patients' health, fitness, and recovery from chronic diseases, disabilities, or injuries. They assess individuals' physical health, conduct fitness tests, analyze results to identify strengths and weaknesses, and develop personalized exercise plans.
Ooh.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is some of the work that he does.
Yes.
And usually they work in settings such as hospitals, rehabilitation centers, fitness facilities, and they require a what degree?
Bachelor's degree.
Okay.
Bachelor's degree, yeah.
You mentioned hospital. Shout out to Piedmont Hospital. Everybody kind of knows that from the Jamie Foxx, Netflix special. He shouted out Piedmont Hospital, so I'm gonna shout him out too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you worked there for 15 plus years
Yes.
in that role.
Yes.
And developed a client base, and now on your own.
Yes.
So his clients are from ages 5 to 92.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta
So-
get into that.
Yeah.
That's a wide range.
Yeah.
I think the young ages starts from the swim coach background.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
doing that, starting out as a lifeguard and then being a water safety instructor at the YMCA. Shout out to the YMCA Buckhead, Carl E. Sanders.
Nice.
My youngest client was 6 months because they would have a 6-month class with babies and their moms or their dads. So we started off there. And then, I was doing a lot of swim lessons and being in the water like 8 hours plus. And then I was like, I don't think this is the career, lifestyle, being in the water for so many hours, showering multiple times a day, still smelling like chlorine. I was like, I think we're going to cross this over the land.
Yeah.
And we ended up crossing over the land. And with my background and working out, playing college football at Clark Atlanta University. Shout out CAU.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna throw them shout outs in there.
Yeah.
So, I was like, if I could,
Absolutely.
get people involved in movement and, maintaining their body like I did in the water with swimming on land, then we might be on to something. So that's what I went in to do.
That's a great transition.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the differences between your role of physical therapist and a trainer.
Okay, so in my estimation, there's this square of health. And there's your doctor who checks you out and refers you to a physical therapist if needed. And then the physical therapist refers you to an ortho to get you going with a plan, or the doctor refers you to the ortho. Then the ortho refers you to the physical therapist. And for physical therapy, depending on what you have going on, you may be there for 3 months, depending on the severity of your injury or what you need to improve. And then once you get released from physical therapy, I'm the last one, the boots on the ground, the exercise physiologist who can work with you daily or 2 to 3 times a week to just make sure you're getting that consistency. So you're probably going to see me more. I think people maybe tend to see their doctors 4 times a year, every quarter.
Right.
If you're on top of your health, you may see a physical therapist none annually, or maybe 1 to 2 times. You'll probably see me 2 to 3 times a week.
So you're kind of the maintenance.
That's right.
After the physical therapy.
I'm the boots on the ground.
All right.
I get you before you go and I get you after you come out.
Okay.
So you see me either way.
Yeah.
So in your public speaking realm, you would represent the fitness center and do presentations on.
Yeah, so I would go over to the main hospital and speak to the entire orientation staff who just came in. So you would see me before, from the fitness center. I would see everybody who got hired in that particular hiring block. And then also I would go over to the cardiac program department and speak with them about some cardiac exercise plans that we have going on at the fitness center, as well as the pulmonary department and the diabetes department. So I was a pretty active guy coming over from the fitness center, always coming over to the hospital to kind of bridge the gap between the two, because they were not on the same side of the street. So
Talk about your experiences with those classes.
the experience with the classes, I mean, they were great, especially the Diabetes Resource Center. It was tough in the beginning, I won't lie. I kind of, was a little nervous with the public speaking in the beginning, but that got me together real quick. I would get these individuals there. They would come in at 8 a.m. and they would be there till about 3 p.m. And then someone said, let's do the exercise portion and have Clint speak right after they come from lunch, when they kind of sleepy and got the itis, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, I would come in there and I was like, they just got to eat lunch. They just found out they had diabetes. They're like, what is this? And they're getting the full spiel.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to come in there and motivate them to exercise right after lunch when they're kind of sleepy, they're yawning, taking phone calls. I mean, they got tomatoes in their back pocket ready to throw at me. And it really helped me, work on my craft. And really, if there was a group of about 30 of them, if I reached 5 of them, I was excited.
That was a good day.
And many of them turned into be clients of mine and still are to this day. And that was 10 plus years ago.
Wow. So at that point, you already had your private practice.
At that point, I was still working with the hospital, doing personal training on the side as an exercise physiologist, but not all the way into the full entrepreneurship.
Got
Yeah.
you. Well, how was that transition?
The transition, it was humbling. I mean, it was all about, I just wanted to create more impact. And I felt like I got to a point to where there was a ceiling of the model, and my goal was to outgrow the model. And, sometimes you just got to jump out there and test the waters. And I just got to a point where I was like, okay, 15 years, I've seen a lot of employees come and go. I mean, I'm speaking to all the employees at the hospital. I see all them come and go. I see all the employees at the fitness center come and go for 15 years. It's like, okay, it's your turn. So let's do it,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I recently heard an expression called fitspiration.
Okay.
I don't know if you have heard that term yet, but what would you say is that culture, and whether it's actually motivating or shaming, any type of body shaming and health shaming for those who aren't physically active?
I would lean more towards the inspiration side. I mean, anything that gets someone moving is inspirational to me. Moving is doing is living. So I would move towards that side for sure.
Daily.
Yeah, daily. Consistency is key.
Right.
Daily. That's right.
Because I have heard, and even lately, hearing more people just saying, even if you just walk, I think sometimes we feel pressure to be in a gym and, to be doing something a little more strenuous, to see results. But I keep hearing more and more, even if you just walk 30 minutes a day, 3 to 4 times a week. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Is that
it makes a big difference.
Okay.
And it's the biggest attitude adjustment, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, if you need a little attitude adjustment with your mood, which we all tend to need, the first thing I would recommend is moving.
Okay.
Get
You
the
think
blood
it's a
flowing.
strong
Get
correlation?
the blood flowing, get the oxygen going, get those endorphins going, change your mood, help improve your mood, improve your quality of life. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's true.
A lot of times I would say, well, I got my steps in for the day.
He said, how many? What was your heart rate?
Yeah. So I think that's key in terms of like walking.
Yeah.
People walk, but if you're walking from here to there, you could essentially get a bunch of steps, but it's about the elevated heart rate. Right?
Yes. When you're super busy, like walking all the time, that's great. But if there's a lot of frequent stops, then that's kind of minimizing what you would want to get to improve. It's still better than nothing.
Right.
Let's take a police officer, for example. If someone is on a high-speed chase on foot, I don't know anybody who runs after someone 1 mile straight, right? They're kind of going to stop after about 60 seconds and call for backup. And then they might come home to the wife or their partner and be like, I got my steps in today. I chased this guy for 30 seconds. That's not quite how it works. The goal is to get a steady state, keep moving, for about 5 to 10 minutes, I would recommend.
Okay.
You want to cut out the stops while you're moving if you can. And if you're not able to do that during your job or wherever you are, then just consider it, that was just extra credit. Everything you did at the job was just extra credit. You want to have it separate.
Yeah.
If you can, if possible. It's
So
just,
the key is always to get your heart rate up.
that's get the heart rate up and just get moving, period.
Yeah. Do you find it more difficult with the younger people or older to get them motivated and to get in the regimen and the daily?
I would say more with the older,
Okay.
more with the older generation. The younger, you're in school, you're in physical activity, PE classes of that sort. You tend to move around a lot with your friends, even though the video games have technology is big.
Right.
But it's a sliding scale with both. A lot of people come to us or come to me with health challenges later on, not so much younger. So you kind of get to a fork in the road where, okay, this is the consequence of not moving when you were young. And you really don't have a choice, It's like you can move now for these 3 days, or you can move 6 days in 10 years. So the goalpost continues to move the longer you wait, because you're playing catch up.
That makes
So,
sense.
yeah,
Kind of like
yeah.
saving money. And
Yeah.
it's like the later you wait, the more you have to do because you lost that time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because it definitely can be rough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Staying on a weekly routine and the discipline.
Yes.
Well,
I think it's important to treat it as self-care.
Yes.
When it goes into that self-care category, that maintenance category, for a man, for a woman, I think it's more understandable to treat it as self-care.
Yeah.
Take a shower, for example. You're like, everybody's busy, a million things to do. I don't think anybody was like, I don't have time to take a shower. I'm just so busy. I don't think you want to do that. It's self-care. So you have to, once you start understanding like it's essential for life.
Yeah.
It's cliche and it's kind of like, I've heard it 1,000 times. If you don't move it, you lose it. It actually does happen.
Yeah.
Move it or lose it, but you just need to know how to move it and knowing that you don't have to compete with what you see moving for an hour. 10 minutes will be helpful. 10 minutes is better than nothing.
That's true.
Going into what you see, right?
Right.
So just what's all over the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. The trainers, the women with the bodies, whether perfect or, that's subjective. But we do see, people have surgery.
Yes.
To get the quick, fast results. But then now you see some people promoting physical and fitness lifestyle.
Yes.
But you really had surgery and now you just keeping it toned, So
Yes.
it's a little deceiving, right?
Yes.
And then, even with the weight loss journey, people were using injections to help with weight loss.
Yes.
So we know both things, and no judgment on people that choose those routes, but it's more about your health overall and sustainability,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So how do you, when you see that flooding the timeline, like what are your thoughts?
It's tough, It's tough, but I think comparison is the thief of joy. So you should be comparing yourself to yourself.
Love
That.
Let's marinate on that. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Big Clint.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so
I'm
you should
sorry.
be.
That's
no
a good
problem.
one.
No
It
problem.
is.
You should be comparing yourself to yourself. It's nothing
Yeah.
to go online and get motivated or
Right.
inspired
Yeah.
or empowered. That's all great. But at the end of the day, you should be comparing yourself to yourself.
Yeah.
And something is better than nothing. So it can be tough if you're trying to compare yourself to someone who has surgery and you have not. You know, they got a jump start on you.
Yeah.
But is it going to be sustainable in the long run? You know, they still have to sustain that. You know, and if they're not doing certain things, they're not going to be able to sustain what they're showing you. Okay. So, you know, that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So no comparisons.
Nope. Work with the body you were given.
That's right.
And do what you need to do to stay healthy and fit.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to advocate for staying active against a doctor's like limiting suggestions?
Yes, absolutely. I think sometimes doctors, you know, they're trained to go to medical school and they're trained to prescribe medication. They're not trained to prescribe movement. You know, that's kind of our role as an exercise physiologist. Not kind of, it is.
That's
So
how they stay in
know,
business.
That's right. So I mean, I've heard
Big
certain
farmer.
people. I heard certain people say, you know, my doctor said that hurts or this and that, so don't do anything. I said, well, you still have to do your activities of daily living. Like you still have to be able to get out of a chair,
Right.
walk in the kitchen, walk to the bathroom, the mailbox, what have you. I wouldn't recommend that you just do nothing. You know, it's one thing to rest something, it's another thing to do nothing.
Right.
So, you know, movement is medicine. That's just how it goes.
Another juke. You catching this? Movement is medicine.
That's just how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, that is very
So
true.
what I'm sure that causes resistance,
Yeah.
right? Because even we had gone and seen grandma, right?
Yes.
She's 94. She had a little slip and fall
Yes.
and a hairline fracture in her hip. She was okay. The doctor kind of just told her, you don't have to do anything, right? And
Rest.
so, yeah.
Or do it if you feel like it.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Do it if you feel
Which
like
nobody
it.
feels like.
That's
And I
right.
was like,
That's right.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna divert to you
Right.
and
right,
talk to her
right,
on that because
right.
like do it if you feel like it just sounded crazy.
Crazy.
Right.
to-
Right.
Yeah.
For a physician to give you that advice.
I mean, that's like I said, you know, there is no exercise or physical fitness training in their, you know, credentials. It's all about, you know, they do know the anatomy very well, and they do know the body and how it functions very well, and they know prescriptions very well,
right.
but not so much exercise prescriptions. So
Or nutrition.
there you go.
Yeah.
So they're going to refer you to a specialist,
Yep.
you know, which they should do.
Yeah.
Or they could take the easy route and just say, no, just don't move.
Right.
And anything that's left to itself tends to decline. I mean, look at your car, look at your house. I mean, how long does it take after it's gotten professionally clean?
Yeah.
How long does your house to take to get back? The dust bunny start showing up.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a Lamborghini or Porsche outside or whatever your dream car is, how long does it take for it not to start if you just leave it there? It doesn't matter how valuable it looks on the outside. The internal functions they still have to follow principles.
That's a great analogy.
And that's where we kind of get into this principle versus emotion.
Oh.
You know, the principle of the body to continue to function mentally and physically is to move for a certain amount of time. You know, so. That's
And
how it goes.
what's the emotional side?
The emotional side is I don't feel like it. You know, when we talked about motivation before we started, you know, me and her talked about motivation. Motivation is, you know, we're going to all go take a walk for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
you know, because the sun is out. So now the sun is not out anymore, and now we're not going to take the walk anymore because we don't feel like it because the weather changed our mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's emotion. Principle is you take the walk anyway.
Regardless.
You take the walk regardless, and you improve your mood. You get something for what you put in. That's principle. You know, and it's going to improve your emotion as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's kind of how it goes.
So motivation
Yeah.
versus
Motivation versus empowerment. Yeah.
and inspiration.
And inspiration, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be motivated to do something, but like you said, if the weather changes, you're not. But if you're empowered and inspired to do it, then you do it regardless.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
I was like,
It-
okay. You know, a
'Cause
lot
it-
of times,
Yeah,
Mr.
my
Man
mind
gets
over
me
matter.
together.
Yeah.
because I'm like,
I ain't motivated. You like, I ain't motivated right
Yeah.
now.
I'm like, well,
It's tough.
yeah,
You know,
you
it's
don't need
hard
you don't
to
need the
stay-
motivation. Be inspired,
Yeah.
be empowered to do it. And I'm like, Yes, sir. I'm going on a
Kicking
walk
and
right
screaming.
now. Razzle, 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 razzle.
Yeah. And I
Every-
love that, y'all are accountable to each other, because
Yeah.
that helps too,
Yeah.
It's definitely harder to be self-motivated
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
exercise
Yeah.
and move. So I find, especially for me, like I like a class, I like a trainer. I like to work out with someone or even, my partner to try to keep, okay, babe, we got to do this, to motivate each other. And I think having that accountability
There you
partner
go. There you go.
Yeah.
definitely makes a huge, huge difference for
Yes.
sure. I need help.
And to be full
Yeah.
transparent, there's days where I don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
But every time I do it, I feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
that's
you get that dopamine,
sure
that
true.
payoff, that
Yeah.
attitude adjustment, that good feeling of just feeling better.
Yeah.
You're like, it's worth the investment.
yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned one time something about the heaviest weight you lift.
The heaviest weight you lift in the gym is the front door.
Oh,
Yes. It's all about your mentality.
listen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Big Clint ain't come to play with y'all
Yeah,
today.
yeah, the
Okay.
heaviest weight you lift in the gym is the front door.
Yeah.
Yeah, 80% is showing up. It's all
Yeah.
about showing up.
That's
You know,
true.
you know.
That is so true.
Yeah.
And you're right. Even though it's hard to get that initial step and getting there, always feel better. Like I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah.
right.
Even
Yeah.
if it's getting up early, because I'm not a morning person,
Right.
so that's rough to do anything really.
Yeah.
But especially to get up and get your butt bust in the gym
Yeah.
or by a trainer, it's like I don't want to do that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
after
yeah.
you finish, it's like I did that,
Right,
and
right.
you definitely feel good. Definitely
too.
feel good.
And it comes down
Inside
to your
out.
goals. It's like,
That's
are you
true.
training for the Olympics? Or are you training just to be healthy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you giving yourself self-care, or are you competing to go to Australia?
Yeah.
Right. Right. No,
It's
that's
like
that's a great
you're
point.
training, you're moving
Yeah.
for the benefit of yourself and others around you as well.
Right.
You reap the benefits, and so the people around you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that's probably something good to keep in the forefront, because I think, especially as well, it's probably safe to say men too. You want to look good,
Yeah.
so that usually is more on the forefront of
Yeah.
whether you have an event like you said to go
Yes.
to, a trip to go to. This is so I can lose this weight, or I can
Mm-hmm.
fit in this and just look better. But if we focus more on, it's about our health first and foremost. The results are going to come.
Yes.
Right.
Right. Your body will change, but to put in the forefront, this is for your health
Yeah.
overall.
And your mental well-being.
And
I
your
mean,
mental.
you're trying to, we're all going to decline at some point, even though we don't really tend to think about it. But when that process happens, and it happens differently for everybody, do you want to start to decline at a 9 or a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10? So, we're all human. This is just the realm that we're living in.
Yeah.
And I would rather choose to start decline from a 9. You never reach a 10, because life is a journey. It's not a
Right.
destination. So you never reach a 10. But I would rather start decline from a 9. I would rather take that accountability and responsibility for myself and work towards getting towards a 9 and have fun with it. Make it fun.
Yeah.
Make it enjoyable. Like you said, a class, a coach, a walking group. I mean, I use whatever resource you can. At the end of the day, it's essential for life, so you might as well have fun with it. I mean, I would have 20, 30 people in my class, and they come in grumpy on Monday morning after the Falcons might have lost or the Georgia Bulldogs might have lost. And I understood them, and I was like, all right, we're gonna have fun. I got you for an hour. We're gonna try to have as much fun as we can.
Yeah.
You can complain to me. It's not gonna faze me at all.
Right.
It's not gonna move me one bit. We're gonna have fun. And if you don't want to have fun, then we'll have fun with the results. You don't have to have fun with the process, but we'll still have fun with the results. Yeah.
What about the clients that hate exercise? I hate exercise.
I hear it all the time.
They come in with that attitude.
I
Oh,
hear
yeah.
it all the time. And I tell them, I said, life does not care. Life does not care about your feelings or what you hate. This is a principle for you to maintain your body and to maintain your mind. And I also asked them, I said, well, do you...
your feelings.
Yeah, I asked, do you hate to breathe? Well,
Ooh.
no. Do you hate to walk?
Damn.
Well, no. Do you hate to, go do your activities of daily living that you're going to do anyway?
Yeah.
Take your own self to the restroom. Give your own self a shower. drive your own car? Do you hate those things? Well, no. I said, okay, well, let's focus on the results.
Yeah.
I don't expect you to love the process.
Right.
Yeah.
But you may hate the process, but you love the results.
Yeah.
You know, we all have a million and one things going on, but when something happens to your health, that becomes your number one priority
Right.
on the
Right.
checklist.
That's
Yeah.
We got,
true.
you know,
Everything
it goes
else
number
goes
one.
out the window.
That's right.
That's-
It goes
that's
number
very
one. So
true.
you might as well invest in it, you know, learn to understand about it a little bit more. And like I said, just try to have as much fun with it as you can. You know, it doesn't have to be this grueling process like, oh my God, I hate it. Think about the results.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone hates the results.
Right.
So
Let's talk a little bit about stretch therapy. You do stretch therapy.
yes.
And I started my journey with that through Pilates.
Yes.
Well, Pilates and stretch, because it wasn't strictly Pilates. And in those classes, I would see guys go to the gym, they all cut up.
Yes.
Football players, that recent video of Stephon Diggs falling
Oh
off
yeah,
the
that
reformer.
was
Yes.
hilarious.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So, and you'd be surprised, people who work out all the time are not flexible.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what does stretch do for you?
Stretching helps maintain your mobility, right? So I know plenty of people who are very strong but very stiff, and they get hurt taking their groceries out of the car because they don't have the range of motion, they don't have the flexibility, they don't have the mobility, the ability to do an activity through its full range of motion. So if someone was to slip and you never practice stretching and you were to slip and stretch your legs all the way out, that one time, that abrasive one time, you have a higher probability of getting hurt because it's not something you do on the routine. So cardiovascular for your heart training is recommended. We could say 3 to 5 days a week. Strength training to maintain your muscles and your bones is recommended 2 to 3 days a week. Flexibility is recommended 5 to 7 days a week. So it's kind of the sleeper. It's kind of the X factor that no one really kind of gets around or talks about if you're not in the know of how important it is.
Oh wow.
So it's like the Olympic rings, you know, it's all relative. You need every color, you need every ring. And stretching is one of those rings.
Oh, okay.
And it seems to be the most neglected.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Definitely imagine so.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I worked out. Did you stretch? No. Did you stretch beforehand? No. Did you stretch after? No.
So you got strong, tight muscles.
That's right. That's right. That can cause problems later with your
Yeah.
alignment, you know,
Yeah.
which should cost you more money. You know, now you have to pay a chiropractor more than you normally would. Now you have to go more than you normally would. Now you have to come see me more than you normally would.
Yeah.
You know, now you have to stretch more at home more than you normally would. So, you know, you have you pay now, you pay double later. You
That's
know?
true.
But like I said, when you understand it, it helps you digest it more and apply it to your lifestyle. You can have fun with it.
Yeah.
So it's all about understanding, you know,
Yeah.
the process.
Is there a minimum amount of time that we should stretch daily? What do you say, like 5 to
I would say
6
5 to
days?
10 minutes. You know, I say it's a good idea to stretch, including your warm up before you work out. So,
Before?
Yeah. So that's part of the warm up process. Like a
Okay.
quick, you know, when you're warming up, like a quick 5 to 10 seconds per muscle. You know, your hot spots, your calves, your quads, your back, your neck, your hips, your knees. You know, the hot spots that you use all the time.
Okay.
And then in the cool down process after your workout, I would say about 15 to 30 seconds because you just took that
Seconds.
muscle.
Okay.
Per muscle. So you
Okay.
just took that muscle through some activity and you made it strong, but now I need some recovery. You know, so
Okay.
the recovery process is a little bit longer than the warm up process.
Okay, and I'm glad you said about the stretching beforehand and like a part of the warming up your muscles
Yeah.
before you start doing something more physical, because I've heard varied opinions on that.
Yeah.
You know, some people feel like trainers,
Yeah.
specifically, I won't say people, trainers would say the warm up before is not necessary.
Yeah. Well, there's an ongoing conversation about that since the beginning of the time. I mean, I did a
Okay.
paper on it in college.
Oh wow.
And there's just several opinions out there, and there's no definite research claiming one way or the other. So I would just say do whatever makes you feel best. You know, experiment with it, and if you feel that stretching helps prepare you and get you acclimated to what you're about to do, then continue to do it. You know, but the warm up stretch is shorter than the recovery stretch. That's the main thing you got to know. Okay. So 5 seconds, you know, that's good. 30 seconds, I would say that's too much. That you leave that for the recovery process.
Okay, got you. Okay, duly noted. For sure.
So in addition to stretching, talk to us a little bit about the importance of breathing.
Ooh, you just made me take a breath. Breathing is everything. It's very, yeah. Breathing is everything. It's very essential. I don't think we focus on it in our, you know, when we start to work out or just in general. That's why I think meditation has become so popular and so big, because it helps people be aware of your breathing, and it really does help regulate regulate everything. It helps you kind of relax and reset. And even when you're stretching, I teach my clients to really, really focus on breathing during stretching, so you can let the muscle go through its full range of motion. So if you hold your breath when you're trying to reach your toes, you would reach further if you did not hold your breath. And that's with any stretch that you do. So when I teach them how to, you know, use their breathing to increase their flexibility, and then the breathing during stretching transfers into your breathing during your workouts, going with the flow, exhale with exertion, you know, versus fighting yourself, and inhale on rest. And then I use these analogies such as, you know, smell the rose or smell the fragrance with a guy, you know, whoever, you know, whatever is applicable to them, you know, smell the rose and then blow out a candle. You know, they know how to smell the rose or smell the ocean, and they know how to blow out a candle. So I, you know, smell the rose when you're getting ready to go. And when it's time to go, when it's time to push or pull or lift, blow out, so you can do it within flow. And you'll find it'll increase the performance of your workout. You know, if your goal is to get 15 reps, if you're not breathing properly, you probably will stop at 8 to 10. And you'll be gassed, and you'll notice yourself take this big at the end once you get done. As opposed to if you were breathing properly or better, you would make it through the full 15 reps, and then at the end there would be not this big gasp of air. So it's very important.
I'm so glad you said that, because I'm guilty of that. I have to remind myself or be told, like, breathe. It's like, oh, I thought I was. So, and it definitely makes a difference, like you said, when you in doing a rep and you exhale when you're doing the pulling, and inhale the opposite way.
Yeah, we try to connect it with exhale with exertion. Both of those start with EX, so we try to connect it with that. And if that doesn't work, we try whatever we can use. Like, we're gonna figure out a way to get you to breathe. Because it's just gonna serve you better.
So, what are some success stories you have from clients?
I have quite a few. Just this past week, I got a few success stories from clients. One who's been training with me for 10 years. She actually came to the diabetes presentation that we spoke of, but she did not have diabetes. Her husband did. She came as a support person. And after she heard me talk, she was like, we need to work out together. Like, you know, and she's been coming to me for 10 years. Unfortunately, the husband has only come 4 times, and she's been coming at least twice a week for 10 years. So we're still working on him. But, you know, she was like, you know, I've lost 20 pounds since we've started. I've been able to keep it off. I have more energy. I sleep better. My mood is better. You know, so that was a really good one. And then just yesterday, I got a text from a client saying, you know, thank you so much for keeping me accountable. You know, this really does help my anxiety. It helps reduce my anxiety, it helps reduce my stress, and it just gives me a better attitude. And, you know, I know it's doing good for me. So thank you so much for keeping me accountable.
Nice.
So he also is a cognitive coach. So he drops these life lesson gem things to his clients. During their sessions together. So sometimes it ends up being more that.
Yes. I have a couple. I have a couple of clients, you know, where, you know, they initially hired me to personal train them, and then they went more into cognitive coaching. You know, we might have an hour session, and we're doing cognitive coaching 45 minutes and only movement 15 minutes. You know, but that cognitive coaching plays a key role and inspires them to move with me and more on their own. So, you know, we have these weekly check-ins of cognitive coaching, and we touch up on some movements that they might not be clear on, or need a little bit more practice with supervision. So, it works really well. I'll come to like it and they come to like it and they like, you're cheaper than my therapist. So, I'm like, okay, well, let's go.
And get a 2-for-1
yeah,
with you.
And that's what happens with an exercise physiologist. We take psychology. My certification is from American College of Sports Medicine. So, the credentials, the training, the process, that make a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this movement of, I like to work out, so now I'm a trainer.
Yes.
Right? And we see a lot of that, right? So is that this, and I liken it to, just because you can cook doesn't mean you're a chef.
Correct.
Just because you are good in a particular field or area and you want to share that information doesn't make you a teacher, right? There's a science to teaching. So how you disseminate that information. So it's the same thing, I would say, with your certification makes a big difference opposed to somebody who just likes to work out and get results. You in the hood on the monkey bars doing pull-ups and now you have people following you because that's the way you do it. That may work for you, but
right. And that's where the comparison. That's where the comparison can come in, right? You see someone doing pull-ups on the monkey bars or jumping from monkey bar to monkey bar and saying a 30-year-old person should be able to do this.
Yeah.
And that's where the comparison comes in there. You got to fact check and do your research on what credentials they have, I think it's tended to be lax when it comes to fitness. I'm all for the fistpiration of movement, but there is a certain type of movement. There is a certain type of prescription for everyone where, you want to meet where you are. You want to start where you are. If you haven't worked out in the last 2 months, I wouldn't recommend that you go jump from monkey bar to monkey bar.
Right.
And also, you just want to be mindful of who is saying what. In terms of like this, the fit culture has become lax because you have Instagram and TikTok and things like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, when you get to we talked about doctors earlier, it's not like, oh, my arm isn't hurting. My arm is hurting. It's been hurting for 2 weeks. Let me call Tyrone down the street and let him assess me. Well, is he Tyrone or is he Dr. Tyrone?
Right.
Like, what's his credentials? Where did he study?
Yeah.
Where is he working now? So people are very good about that when it comes to their doctor, so you might want to be a little bit better about that with fitness as well.
Yeah.
And it is important. And even as simple as your form.
Yes.
Because I've worked with different trainers, and one that gave 2 shits about is like, just do it, and all 3 of us are doing
kind of names.
right
to motivate you.
That's right.
That's right.
And the 3 of us may be doing the same thing, using
Yeah.
the same ways. It's like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We did 3 different body types, different ages, different abilities and strength. We shouldn't be doing the same thing. But form is so important. And even I love the trainer I go to now because he could be across the room and will come over and like, no, this is how you do it. And it could be a slight adjustment and will make a world of a difference. He's like, oh yeah, now you feel. I was like, oh yeah I do. So form, and that's the thing too, following people on Instagram, then a lot of them aren't form conscious.
Right.
So,
my thing is safety first, right?
Yeah.
And I get excited when people are safe, and I keep them safe.
Yeah.
And I want you to get that A+ rep. If we're getting a rep, like I want you to really get that A+ rep versus a C- rep. I'm gonna give you that extra attention because you deserve it. So form is very important. Yeah, and safety is everything.
And safety.
Yes,
for sure. Yes. And I like you see some pages that will show a right way with a check and an X to say this is not how to do it. This is how to do it. So it is important to understand.
That's right.
Form is
there's a right way to back out the driveway and there's a wrong way.
Right.
Save yourself a lot of trouble on the back end.
Yeah. So what are some of your perspectives on health, wellness, like the fitness journey and where we're at. You just mentioned a trainer, right?
So the journey is a journey.
Yeah, it's journeying.
It's journeying, and I do struggle with consistency. And I recently told myself, okay, you have to be committed to do this.
That's right.
So. And we all have had a discussion before about time.
Yes.
Because we'll say, "Oh, I don't have enough time," or "Not today because I have to do," And Clint very eloquently broke it all the way down for us. Of where all the hours in your 24 hours of the day get accounted, and to show and prove how we all have time.
That's right.
Can still do what you say, all the things you
everything.
normally do,
Yeah.
and still have time. So
What'd you say about finding time?
You don't have to find time. The time is there. You have to prioritize the time.
Prioritize
You have to
the
find
time.
it. It's there.
That's
Your
it.
24 hours are there. Your 1,440 minutes in a day, it's there. You don't have
Yeah.
to find
Ooh,
it. It's there.
bam.
Yeah, it's there. So, it's all about how you prioritize it.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
You have to find out
That's it.
what is your best plan of action. What are you most likely to do?
yeah.
What time frame are you most likely to be active? Is it 10 minutes before? It's 10 minutes in the beginning of your day? Is it 10 minutes in the middle of your day? Is it 10 minutes at the end of your day? And I would say the longer you wait to do it, the more challenging it becomes. The less motivated and inspired you are because you went through an entire day of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying get up at 4 a.m. and do it, but
Yeah,
if you're trying to do it at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. after a long day, it's going to be more challenging at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I should probably adjust. Excuse me. Definitely on before a.m. But to do it, try to do it in the morning or
Yeah.
the early part of the day rather than
Yeah.
the evening
Oof.
because it is tough. And to allot that time every day. I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
that too. Like I said,
Yes.
the consistency is.
Yeah.
I know at this time every day this is what I do.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm better.
I mean, I'm trying. I've had ups and downs
Yeah.
with working out and trying to, and then it feels like every time I get on a consistent track,
Something happened.
something happens to my body
Yes.
unrelated to working out, right? So something, because I hadn't worked out my whole entire life, that now surfaces, right? So it's either gonna be my knees, or we were on this track working out, I was doing good, had a car accident. So then it's kind of like, dang, I think I was more upset about the role I was on and knowing that, like, dang, this is going to set me back. And he was very encouraging about, like, will you get back slowly when you can, blah, blah. And I was like, but I was doing X, Y, Z, and I was
Yeah.
banging them out. And now I got to, I was walking on elliptical or doing elliptical for 30 minutes. Now I got to do the elliptical for 5. So it was like
To build it
being
back up.
defeated,
Yeah.
feeling defeated, which is discouraging. It's going to make you put it off more, right? So it was like, okay, I have to be willing to accept that I can do 5 minutes on
Yeah.
elliptical and just be grateful that you still have legs.
Yeah,
So
right,
able
right.
to do 5 minutes on the
Absolutely. And
elliptical.
something is better than nothing. That's something
Right.
I also try to tell myself. Like,
Yeah.
well, doing nothing is not helping a situation.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
even if you can't do all that you would like to do at the moment, do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a great
something.
point to the all or nothing, principle.
Yeah.
Something is better than nothing. I used to work out for 2 hours when I played college football.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't serve me the best to work out 2 hours anymore.
Yeah.
I had to bring it down to 1 hour.
Yeah.
And then some days I have to bring it down to 30 minutes. And then some days I have to bring it down to 15 minutes. It's the consistency is more important than the intensity. So I had to get out of that weekend warrior, even if it was on the weekend or during the week, and be like, consistency is better than intensity. It's going to serve you better long term being consistent versus going and do these 2 to 3 hour spats.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an adjustment I had to make.
Love
And
that.
it served me better for it.
There's another one. Consistency is better than intensity.
Consistency trumps intensity. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Come on, Clint. Big Clint, a.k.a. Zaddy, in the building, dropping gems. I love it, love it, love it.
Look, me too.
Yeah, I know you do, girl. But yes, you are very inspirational. And I get a lot of information, some directly from you, and some via T. So I appreciate, the motivation that you bring. So thank you, thank you, and thank you for sharing your time and your wisdom.
Absolutely. I'm here to serve.
for sure.
I'm just a vessel. I'm here to
Yes,
serve.
come on, vessel.
I'm just a vessel.
So now, wait, we have one more thing for you before you go.
Okay.
We're going to do a little mirror talk with you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're going to dip into the past. So,
Okay.
what's one thing your younger self needed to know that you now understand?
Keep going. Just keep going. Keep going. Keep growing. That's been big for me. No matter what the situation is or what the challenge is or the environment, just keep going. That's what I've learned has separated most people than others. In whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to serve, whatever you're trying to accomplish, whatever you're trying to be, whatever you're trying to have, keep going. So building those tools to learn how to be able to sustain and endure whatever comes your way, and knowing that won't last. The storm will eventually end.
Yes.
Whatever storm it is.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
And then, what are you unapologetically claiming for your future?
Growth again, just growth and service. Unapologetically. I feel like my purpose is here to serve and make an impact in the ones that I come in contact with, directly or indirectly. It's all about connecting to the spiritual power for me and continue to grow on that journey. And some of the principles that I've adopted is the 5 pillars of faith, family, finance, fitness, and freedom. So I continue to grow in those areas. Some are better than others for me, but just becoming aware of those key areas that help, push and drive in your relationships and your health and your wealth and all those key areas. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That hits every aspect of life and living. Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Clint.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Clint.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zaddy.
You're welcome. You're welcome, baby.
Yes, and thank you, our viewers, for watching another episode of the Ginger and Honey podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, and tell a friend to tell a friend. And until next time, I'm Nick Valentine, and I could be a little ginger.
And sometimes I'm a little honey.
But depending on the day,
It could go either way.
hey.
See you next time.
Thank you for joining us.